We haven't met, I'm Jennifer Elliott, and this is VinYin or Vinyasa and Yin. And today we're opening up the heart. And so we'll think of the heart and sort of expanding the chest, but a lot of times we can think about the opposite side of the body. So it's going to be a lot of upper back strengthening, the upper back, the triceps. So our heart opening practice will be a back strengthening practice. So let's get started. If you have two blocks, get them set up for a 2-block heart opener. If you don't have two blocks, then you can either start flat on your back with your arms in cactus, or sometimes you have something else around like a foam roller or a bolster or a couple of blankets you can put underneath you just to get that lift to the chest. So take a few moments, get set up in whatever opening pose works for your body. And this is a great sort of moment here if you have these blocks to see how we sort of lift and expand the chest. It's just those bottom tips of the shoulder blades resting on the block. And since I want to be here for a few minutes, I'm actually going to take my hair tie out so I can rest my head comfortably. All right, so take a few moments, get comfortable, whatever that means for you. At the very least, just lie on the back and turn the palms up. Take a few moments to soften the jaw and just bring your attention into this space. And just notice how you arrived in this moment. What is your energy today? So what's really nice about heart openers is they're really uplifting to the body. So especially if you've been sitting a lot during the day, even if you don't feel depressed, it sort of gives the body that depressed feeling as the shoulders roll forward. You sort of collapse the space for the lungs and the heart. And so just by rotating the palms up, letting the shoulders roll open, getting a nice little space for the heart, you've already started to shift your mood. You're on that physical level or energetic level. We're sort of open to receive. So the palms turn open. We allow the breath to move in. And take a moment to sort of let go of that contraction we've had during the day and find a little bit more expansion. And you can view that with the breath. So as you're just noticing your natural breath, feel the gentle rise and fall. Notice the ribs moving in all directions. You can feel the sternum rising, the collarbones widening. You might notice sort of the side ribs and back ribs moving. And then start to cultivate a little ujjayi breathing. So in and out through the nose. Very gentle restriction at the base of the throat. You can imagine it's like you're pinching a water hose just to more directly flow that water. And so as you breathe in the base of the throat, just very gently restrict the throat, nothing harsh. So that as you breathe in and out through the nose, you can hear the breath, it's audible. It creates a nice soothing sound to the body. And take a few more cycles here. All right, so you can stay with your ujjayi breathing. Take the arms overhead, interlace the hands, turn the palms open. I always encourage a yawn here. It signals the ligaments in the jaw to relax, the nervous system to soften. And then bring the arms overhead, change the interlace, reach back behind you again, maybe yawn again. And then relax your arms, find your way up. So you might be able to just reach for the edges of the mat and gently sit all the way up, or however you're gonna find your seat. So when you get all the way up to your seat, you can cross comfortably at the ankles. I'm just gonna sort of stay the direction I'm facing at the moment. And as we sit tall, just place your hands on your thigh bones, turn your palms up and then lift your hands. So it's basically no hands here. Sit tall on an inhale. And then exhale, twist your whole torso to the right. Inhale, grow tall from where you are. Exhale, continue to twist to the right. So no hands twist. One more. Inhale, tall. Exhale, revolve. You can place the left hand on the right knee. Right hand might go behind you on the floor or on that prop. But sit tall, really lengthen, try to keep your chin level to the floor, and exhale, continue to revolve. Now keep your pose, but lift your hands a moment so you're maintaining that no hands twist. And then slowly unwind. All right, how'd you do? That's my favorite twist. So hands down, turn the palms up, lift the hands, grow tall through the spine, inhale. Exhale, twist your whole torso to the left. Inhale, grow tall again. Exhale, pull the navel and use your abdominals to twist you. One more, inhale and exhale. Right hand to the left knee, left hand behind the back on the floor or on your prop. Grow tall, find length, keep your chin level to the floor. Exhale, navel in, and you'll notice you're tempted to use that hand, which is fine, just don't overdo it. But then see if you can just lift your hands and maintain the twist. Continue to draw the navel in. And then slowly unwind. Okay, release the hands, switch the cross of the ankles, hands on the knees. Inhale, pull your chest forward, elbows in. Exhale, round it back. Now, as you do that again, inhale, lift the heart, but try to do a little bit of a chin lock. And round. One more, inhale, lift the heart, and just walk the hands out in front of you. Take a couple of breaths here. And walk your hands all the way back. Okay, find your way to just bending at the knees. I'm going to move my blocks out of the way. And take your fingers, face you, slide the hands back, stretch through the fingers, drop down through the heels of the hands, keep the elbows bent, shimmy the shoulders back, lift the breastbone, not the head. So always dropping the head just a little bit so that lift comes from the sternum. Now this might be plenty for the wrists and for the shoulders, but some of you I know like to add on. So if you want, lift the hips into an upward facing table. Try to get the hips to the height of the knees. Roll the shoulder heads back and look down your nose. If you feel like you've got space in the shoulders, maybe gently glance up, but avoid dropping your head back for now. In fact, maybe just keep looking down your nose. And then slowly release, hips to the floor if you had lifted. Peel your hands up, roll around your wrists. Do that one more time. Slide the hands back, fingers face. Drop down through the heels of the hands. Roll the shoulders back. Lift the heart, not the head. Stay as you are or lift the hips, upward facing table. Lift and expand through the heart. If you feel like the heart is open, gently gaze up. But this is early in the practice, so don't feel like you have to do this now. And then slowly release. Okay, roll your wrists around. You're going to have a seat either on your feet or on a block, whatever you've got, and then grab your strap. So I'm going to do this facing away from you, and then I'll turn back towards you. So block between the legs if you'd like for virasana, and then I'm going to grab my strap. I have a really long strap, so if you have a short strap, this may not work, but we're going to do a little yoga strap jacket. So take the strap behind the back, right at the bra line. Come up front where the armpits are, and then cross behind your neck. Now hold one end of the strap in one hand, hold the other end in the other hand, so X marks the spot right behind you. Now when you're here, keep a bend in the elbows. Lift the chest, pull those hands down so you get a nice lift in the breastbone. Draw the tailbone down, lift the navel in. I'm going to turn so you can see it from the side. Again, we're gently pulling down, lifting the pubic bone up, and there's this sort of tug of war that you have. We want to feel how nice that is drawing the shoulders down the back. Keep your head just nice and level. And some of you can even tie your strap, if you've done this before, in the front. So wherever you are, we're just doing this as a tool. So when I talk about the yogi straight jacket, you know what I mean? Just feeling the shoulders drawing down the back. So take a couple of more breaths. If you don't have a strap, just pretend. Draw those shoulders down the back. Lift the sternum, lift the navel, drop the chin. All right, we'll take one more breath and release. Okay, so release your jacket if you've got it on. Set it aside. And then I use this one because it's my super long one, but it's a little too long for the rest of my practice. So for the rest of the practice, when we use the strap, we're just going to have a little loop about shoulder width. So if you want to put a loop in your strap, if you have one, go for it. Otherwise, we'll just skip it and move on. So find your way to hands and knees, nice tabletop pose. Spread wide through your fingers, root through the shins. Take an inhale and pull your chest forward like before, but keep your chin dropped. Exhale, round, lift the navel in. Inhale, chest lifts wide through the collarbones, but keep your chin in slightly. One more time, exhale and round. Inhale, gaze up, tuck the toes under, lift up and back, downward facing dog. You can turn your palms out a little bit, pedal out the feet just to get into the ankles, the heels. Maybe rotate the head slightly, getting a little traction, rotation in the neck. And then shift yourself forward into plank, top of your push-up. So bring your shoulders right over your wrists. If you're like me, I tend to lock up my elbows, so I have to be real conscious of having that micro bend in the elbows. Inner thighs up, pubic bone lifts. Look forward. Tip forward on the toes, or you can be on your knees here. And go slow to the floor, elbows in, but think of having that straight jacket on so the shoulder heads are lifting and drawing the shoulder blades down the back. When you come all the way down onto your belly, reach back through your toes. Hook your right thumb on top of your left. Keep a big bend in your elbows. Take an inhale, drag the shoulders back, lift the heart, not the head, gazing down slightly. Keep all 10 toes pressing into the mat. And release. Switch, cross your left thumb on top of your right. Lift the shoulder heads, lift the heart, press firmly into the tops of your feet. Breathe. And slowly release. Slide onto your forearms. Sphinx pose. Pull those arms back, chest forward, and get really used to dropping your head just slightly. Push into the feet, lift the navel, one more breath. Elbows wide, lower down. Press up plank or table, yogi's choice. Downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here. So if we haven't met before, I give lots of options, because to me it doesn't really matter if you think you're new or advanced or what have you. Each day is a new day, so it's nice to know what those options are. Letting the head hang, let's lift the right leg up just about halfway. Press back through the heel, take an inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Pull the knee up high to the chest. Inhale the leg back. Exhale, knee to the left arm. Look forward, pull the navel in. Inhale the leg back. Exhale, knee to nose. Step the foot next to the right thumb tip. Keep the left hand on the floor or block. Reach the right arm high. Find your way into a twist. And then just slide the top arm behind your back, wherever it lands. Take the backs of the fingers and encourage the left leg to lift a little bit. Hug the right hip in and back. Pull the chest forward and just start to work that right shoulder open. Gently unwind. Drop the back knee down, pat it if you need. I'm going to keep my toes tucked under. That's up to you. Send the arms high. Anjaneyasana. Lift the frontal hip bones. Try to pull the navel in. Try to lift the sternum like we did with the straight jacket. Slide the hands behind your back. Hook thumbs again. Keep the elbows bent. Straight jacket the arms down. Lift the sternum, not the head. Take a couple of breaths here. And I'm going to go back into my twist. I'm going to send the arms high. Bring the hands to your heart and slowly twist to the right. Now you can stay exactly as you are, but I'm going to lift my back leg up a little bit and then see if I can find the same thing I did earlier with hugging the right hip in and maybe trying to lift that left thigh bone just a little higher. You might even already feel like you want to expand the arms. Just options. And then bring it down. Hands to the floor, step to plank, top of a push-up. From here, or knees tip forward, lower halfway. Can you keep the shoulder heads lifted and all the way down to the ground? Lift the heart, lift the chest, stay, or some of you might straighten up into upward facing dog, but try to roll the shoulders back. Lift the sternum and look down your nose. Downward facing dog. Okay, couple breaths. Left leg lifts, inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale back. Exhale, knee to the right arm. Keep the shoulders over the wrists. Inhale back. Exhale, knee to nose. Step the foot next to the left thumb tip. Right hand on the floor or block. Left arm reaches to the sky. And then just drape it behind the back, wherever you land. And I'm always surprised when I have that hand behind how low that back femur bone is. So try to lift it up. You can sink into the front hip, but lift that back femur up. And then work on rolling the left shoulder open. I don't know about you, but shoulders are so hard for me. It's so hard to get those shoulders open. I have long arms, so I can do arm balances. But anything where I have to open the shoulders, I really feel it. Slowly unwind. Drop the back knee down. Maybe keep those back toes tucked under. Arms rise, Anjaneyasana. Scissor the thighs together. Send the hands behind, hook left thumb on top of right. Notice the shoulders curling in. Straight jacket them back. Draw those arms down. Lift the chest, not the head. Couple of breaths here. And then inhale, the arms rise. Exhale, hands to heart. Slowly twist left. You can stay exactly as you are, or straighten up the back leg. And then try to find those same movements we did earlier. Can you pick up the back femur? Can you hug the left hip in and roll that top shoulder back? Maybe not all at the same time, but pick one. Maybe one works for you. All right, slowly unwind, hands down. Step to plank. Tip forward, lower chaturanga, hold. Some of you scrub the toes back. Flip over, up dog, however you like to get there. Again, try to look down your nose. Downward facing dog. Okay, couple of breaths here. Come high to your toes. Bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Come up halfway, but look at the ground. Chin lock slightly. Exhale, fold. Hands to your hips, elbows to the sky. Lead with your heart and slowly come on up. Okay, release your hands. Big toes touch at the top of your mat. We're preparing for Surya Namaskar A, Sun Salute A. So spin your inner thighs back. Lift your pubic bone as you drop your tail. Arms out to the sides. Palms open, just like that first pose. Already starting to uplift our mood. Chin level to the floor. First rounds will be slow. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway, look at the ground. Exhale, step to plank, or you might be ready to jump into chaturanga, but we have time. Lower through your vinyasa. Any back bend you'd like, but look down your nose instead of trying to drop your head back. That may be new for you, or at least a hard habit to break. And then find downward facing dog. We're here 5 breaths. This can always be child pose. Check out your hands are shoulder width apart. Your feet are hip width apart. Wrist creases parallel to the front of the mat. You're going to root more weight into the index finger and the thumb, but really rooting through the base of the knuckles and the whole circumference of the hand. Try to peel the toes up gently as you spin the inner thighs back, lining up those heels behind the second toe. Take another breath or two. High to your toes. Bend your knees, look forward, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale up halfway, look at the ground. Exhale, fold. Root to rise. Inhale, arms reach to the sky. Navel in and up. Slightly look down your nose, even though you're glancing up a little bit. And hands to heart. Okay, round 2. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, either jump chaturanga or step plank and lower. Move through your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. Try to really spin your biceps, your inner upper arms forward, wrapping your triceps back. It's that same work of spinning the inner thighs back. really try to press the thigh bones back and lift up through the hips. High to your toes, bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Root to rise, reach the arms to the sky, palms press, navel in and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay, 3 rounds on your own. Surya A. If you don't know it, just make it up. We'll meet in your third downward facing dog. So when breath stops, movement stops. Let this be a moving meditation. When we create space in our heart, we create space for our lungs to breathe. Take your time. If it feels fast, slow your breath down. Three to 5 breaths when you get to down dog. This can always be child's pose. All right, we have one more round. We'll meet in your next down dog. You're welcome to stay in this one the whole time if you'd like, if you want a little bit of stillness versus that movement. All right, so one more. Let's find our way to downward facing dog. I'm just going to skip my vinyasa for me. And place your knees on the ground, tailbone to the heels, child's pose, but leave the arms extended. Uttita Balasana. And just start to walk your hands off the right side of your mat, nice and angled, forehead down. Take the right arm behind the back. Maybe you can tuck into the hip crease like we've been doing already. Lift through the shoulder head and breathe. See if you can lift the shoulder head without lifting the head. So keep your forehead down, just lift up through the shoulder. And then release, do the other side. So walk the hands over, find that nice length, left arm behind the back. See if you can tuck into the hip crease, lift the shoulder without lifting the head. Walk your hands back. And then if it's okay for you, roll yourself up. Have a seat on your feet. If it's not okay, sit on a prop or just hang out for a moment in child's pose. So I'm going to take my prop that already had my pre-loop here, just because my shoulders are really tight. You can interlace hands if you are ready to do that. But I'm going to slide the strap just over my wrists. My palms face each other. I'm going to think of that straight jacket I did earlier. So I'm going to pull the arms down. I'm going to dome and lift the sternum, but I'm going to keep the chin a little bit locked. Oftentimes we lift the heart and throw the head back. It's not great for the neck. So try to drop the chin a little bit, pull the navel in. You can stay or return to child's pose from here. You can leave the arms where they are, lifting shoulder heads, or take the arms all the way up depending on how you're feeling. But the goal is to roll the shoulder heads back. It doesn't really matter if the hands are reaching to the ceiling or not. Lead with your heart, pull yourself up, and if you had that strap, remove it. Nice job, yogis. Downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg lifts. Exhale, step it right next to the right thumb tip. Stand on the back toes for a moment and come on up, crescent lunge, high lunge. Bend the back knee so you can sort of sink into it. And then drop the back heel and open into warrior two. You may need to adjust so that front heel intersects the back arch, but just do the best you can with your space. Take an inhale, reverse the warrior, left arm behind the back like we just did in child's pose, and then keep it as you drop the right elbow onto the thigh in your side angle. So you can stay as high as you are here, as high as I am with the elbow on the thigh, or I like to sometimes reach for a block so I can go a little bit lower. Same work we did in our twist earlier. Can you roll the shoulder head back? And some of you, I know, you may be ready to bind. If you are, I'm sort of demonstrating here how we tend to move too far forward. If you do bind, pull the right buttock back, roll the shoulders back, and see if you can move a little closer to the leg. And you can even use this with a strap if you've got a strap and that works better for you. So keep that top shoulder rolling back, whether you're in a full bind or you're just resting your elbow on your thigh. You slowly unwind. You can take your right hand on your block outside the ankle, top hand on the hip. Move that block forward about a foot. Pick up the back leg slowly. And let's find Ardha Chandrasana and then maybe bend the leg, finding Shavasana. Grab the ankle if you can. Find your breath. It's that same work of rolling that top shoulder open. Breathe. Slowly straighten the leg. Step back mindfully, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale to the floor. Take a moment, find your twist. Now from here, some of you may cross elbow over knee. You can take a side plank too. I know some of you know me well enough that you're already in your side plank. So you can do your side plank if you want, or take your twist again and maybe open the arms. You might even explore wrapping here, which is not my forte, but it happens sometimes. Breathe. Slowly unwind. Take the right leg all the way up to the ceiling from your down dog, and then just open up the hip, bend the knee, push it behind you. If you want, flip the dog. All right, flip it back over. Find your down dog. A couple of breaths. You can always add in a vinyasa here. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, step it next to the left thumb tip. Stay high on the back toes, but bend the back knee a little bit as you come up. Find your crescent lunge. And then when you're ready, open to the right, drop the back heel down, but line up front heel with back arch. Sink in. I don't know if you've been noticing, but I've been really enjoying having this wall here. This has been nice for my balance. All right, inhale, reverse, right arm behind the back. Exhale, elbow to the thigh. Feel free to stay here. This is one of my favorite places to be, rolling the shoulder back. Where some of you went lower, adding that hand to the block or floor inside of the leg, or you may be binding, reaching for your hand or strap. But if you are, pull the left buttock back, roll the shoulders back. Slight chin lock, breathe. Gently unwind. Block or hand behind the pinky toe. Go as slow as you can. Step up to Ardha Chandrasana. Maybe bend the knee, reach for the ankle. Shavasana. Take your time. Straighten it up, step back. Warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale to the floor. Okay, so do whatever you did on side one. Some of you I know went right into your side plank. Feel free to do that if you'd like. Otherwise, I'm going to twist. Elbow over the knee. Palms together, lengthen, open. You can stay or open up. We'll see, I feel like these are my shorter arm side, so maybe I can bind. Nope, not this side. Open up through the shoulder. Find your breath. All right, unwind. Down dog, take the left leg to the ceiling. Open the hip, bend the knee, push your foot back. Watch out for props or people if there's more people in your house. Flip the dog if you'd like. All right, down dog. You can always add a vinyasa if you'd like. Couple breaths here. Hands to heels, walk it back. Grab elbows, give yourself a few moments here, just hang. Switch the clasp. Hands to hips. Lead with the heart and slowly come on up. Okay, nicely done. So if you have blocks, grab your blocks. This is my favorite. I know my students don't necessarily love it, but I love it. So if you don't have blocks, you can take the strap around the wrist like I did in the beginning, or even just pretend and have sort of those fake blocks between your palms. But I'm going to take the short sides of the blocks. I'm going to move them together behind me. I'm just showing you. But I don't want to claw at the blocks. Whew, that's why. I want to take my hands and I want to have those palms open. See those yogi reflexes? You can have those too. All right, so bring short sides of the blocks together. Those feet are wide. And again, try not to claw the blocks, but hold the blocks with open palms. If you don't have blocks, your strap is over your wrists or your interlacing hands if you'd like. Roll the shoulder heads back. Reach those arms back. And you should feel those triceps really starting to work now. Find your breath. It's hard. Breathe. Lift the chest. Can you get that sort of straight jacket action on the arms? You can stay here. I feel plenty here. Or shift forward. Can you keep the shoulder heads lifting? It's challenging, I know, especially if you have heavy blocks. Breathe. And then lead with your heart. Come all the way up. Whew, I don't know about you, but I started to break a sweat. All right, so let's go back. Take your legs wide. You can make fists and press those fists together, or try to move into reverse prayer. Roll the shoulder heads back. Same work that we did. Lift the chest, knock the chin. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Find your breath here. Can you keep the shoulder heads lifting without having to lift the head? Now release the hands to the floor. Gaze up halfway, pull your chest forward, and then refold. And some of you I know like tripods. If you feel confident with tripod in the center of the room at your house, go for it. Otherwise, just use this as a nice rest. I like to use this for traction on the neck, just releasing it. If you're in headstand, make your way down. Otherwise, hands on hips, lead with your heart, and slowly come back up. Okay, well done, yogis. Let's take our last standing sequence, and then we'll move to the wall if you've got it. So I'm going to start at the back of the mat for me. Take an inhale, sit back into chair. Exhale, forward fold. If you want a vinyasa near the front of the mat, go ahead and jump back. Otherwise, look up halfway like me, feet hip width, and walk forward, down dog. So I just skipped a vinyasa for myself since we're doing a lot of shoulder work, but some of you I know want to add that in. So a couple of breaths here. Inhale, the right leg lifts. Exhale, step your foot next to the right thumb tip. This time, take your back foot, move it a little left and up. Anchor down for warrior one and rise. Sink into your lunge. Sweep the hands behind you. Now, yogi's choice. You can hook thumbs, you can interlace, or you can grab that strap. But wherever you are, even hands on hips is fine. Try to lift the sternum sternum, not the head. Take an inhale. When you're ready, exhale, fold, humble warrior one. Move to the inside of the knee or ankle. Find your breath here. Pull the right buttock back like we did before. Inhale, slowly rise. Reach the arms to the sky. Wrap those outer arms in. Should feel nice to have those in front of you. Couple of breaths. Sink a little deeper into the lunge. And on your exhale, sweep the hands down. Move through a vinyasa or meet us in down dog. Yogi's choice. All right, left leg lifts. Step it next to the left thumb tip. Back foot doesn't just drop. Move it a little right and forward before you ground it. Then come on up, warrior one. Sink into your lunge. Spin the right inner thigh back. Lift the navel, try to pull it in, and then sweep the hands behind you. Do whatever what was working for you with interlacing those hands or grabbing your strap. Lift the chest, inhale, and exhale, fold. Humble warrior one. Move slow. Come on up. Take your time. Belly in, arms rise. And when you're ready, sweep it down, step back. Take your last vinyasa or meet in down dog. All right. Nicely done. Shift forward to plank and come all the way down onto your belly. However you get there is fine. Okay, well done, yogis. So from your belly, bring the arms by your sides, palms face the ceiling. Forehead down. It doesn't need to touch the floor, but just sort of move in that direction. Lift through your shoulder heads. Lift your heart, picking up your head but not lifting the gaze. Raise your legs, spin the inner thighs up, lift the navel. Palms face each other, reach those arms back. You can stay here or bend your knees, reach for your ankles, Dhanurasana. If a simple bridge, I don't want to call it a simple bridge, if a bridge feels better than this for you, take that. Sometimes it's not comfy being on the belly. This may bother the neck or the knees. Slowly lower. Turn your head to one side, or you've moved into that bridge pose and you're on your back. Notice the heartbeat, all of that space for the heart. The heart starts to pump a little bit more. All right, one more. Shalabhasana, come on up. Or Dhanurasana or bridge, Setu-bandha. Choose your back bend, drop your chin a little bit if you're lifted like I am. Lower, turn your head to the other side. Feel your heartbeat. You ever notice how your heartbeat and your breath are two things you don't notice unless you're out of it or sort of getting your attention? So let's slowly back out. Don't go right into a forward bend yet. So no knees into the chest or child's pose. Just sort of sit upright. So we're going to move to our peak pose, or what I've been working towards, Ustrasana at the wall. And if you're like me, Ustrasana camel pose is not my favorite pose. But we've really worked hard to get there. So I have hope that I'll enjoy it more today. So I'm going to use the wall. You do not have to use the wall. You can stay in the center of the room. For me, it's just such a hard pose to get into. I like the feeling of having the wall there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a blanket under my knees so that I can put my knees here at the wall. And I'm going to put that block between my feet. I'm just going to sit down for a moment. Bring my knees close. Hug those feet into the block. And then we're going to come on up onto the shins, whether you're at the wall or you're in the center of the room. You're going to press your hips to the wall, hug your feet into that block, take your hands to your lower back and draw the tailbone down. And try to keep your hips against the wall or the imaginary wall if it's not here. Lift your sternum, roll the shoulder heads back. How far up the body, like you have a string on your chest, can you pull that sternum? Keep hugging in. Hug the inner thighs. Now as you start to lean the upper body back, keep the hips against the wall. Lift the sternum, not the head. You can stay. Or some of you might start to slide the hands down the back. Keep the chest lifting, not the head. Breathe. You might be looking down your nose or slightly at the ceiling. Hands to hips at the same time. Slowly come up and gently have a seat. Okay, how did we do? Whew. All right, I'm going to explore. I'm going to try to do this without the wall. I'm going to use my strap around my thighs, like a skirt. And I'm going to use those blocks by my ankles. So I've sort of thrown it all together here. So I have strap around my thighs. Mainly that's because I don't have a third block to put between my feet. So I'm going to reach back through the toes, press the shins down, and I'm going to hug the inner thighs in a little bit, like I wanted to make this strap loose. My other blocks are next to my ankles. Okay, hands on hips. And if this is not your pose, bridge is a nice alternative. Legs at the wall is a nice alternative. So draw the tail down. Lift through the sternum. Sternum lifts, not the chin. Can you keep lifting up? Root down through the shins. Lift the heart, roll the shoulders back, maybe look up. And some of you may place your hands on your blocks or on your heels. Now if you lean back too much, can you move the hips forward? Lift the sternum, roll the shoulder heads back. And only when you have that lift in the chest, then start to glance up. It's so not important to look up or even drop the head back. Are we breathing? Hands to hips at the same time. Better said than done. And slowly lower down. All right, yogis, how'd we do? It's a hard pose. And part of the reason it's hard is because we want the back bend to come from the thoracic, from the mid back. We don't want the back bend in the neck or in the lower back, but those are the parts that want to move. Okay, so bring yourself out of your pose and either take legs up the wall if you have a wall, or legs in the air if you have a block or something that you'd like to bring up. So we just want to rest from that pose. So legs up the wall, or legs in the air, whatever's going to give you a moment to just rest. Turn the palms open and just feel. Maybe that heartbeat is pumping a little bit more. Maybe your mood is a little elevated. It's not about achieving the poses. It's about putting in the effort and being unattached to the results. Abhyasa and vairagya. Effort and non-attachment. Let's take about 5 or 6 more breaths here. Feel the warmth of your back body. I always notice after these practices, I really feel good and strong in the upper back and really open and free in the chest. And if you have legs up the wall, bend your knees. If you're on a prop, remove the prop, bend your knees, and then drop your knees to the left. Let's enjoy a nice spinal twist. I'm going to be here for a few breaths. I'm going to sit up so I can find my timer so we can move into this appropriately, but you're still where you are in your twist, wherever that is for you. I have a timer on my phone called Insight Timer. I'll take into account you've already been moving or staying for a little while, so I'll just do this for a minute, not long. All right, so you're still in your twist, knees to the left. Again, not long. We'll be here about another, 6 or 7 breaths or so. Twists are these great bookends to back bends. So we always do them before and after. We sort of use them before to prepare the upper back for back bends, and we do them after to unwind. So they're these great neutralizers for the spine, these twists. All right, bring your knees through center, drop them over to the right side. I'll just add a nice 30 seconds to our time since we were there for a little while before. Always find your way to your second side of your twist. All right, so we're on our second side, either at the wall or in the center of the room. Add any props that make this more successful for you. In a moment before we take our last few yin postures, we'll do a little bit of core work. And part of that is we hope that the upper back is doing the work for us in our back bends, but oftentimes it's the lower back. So the core work we do will just sort of help to seal in those benefits of the practice and stabilize the core and lower back. Here, about 5 more breaths. All right, so bring yourself to center. If you're just in the center of the room, you can bring your knees to center. If you're at the wall, bring yourself away from the wall because we're going to want to have the full length of the mat for our core. And this core is relative to you. You don't have to do anything extreme to take care of you. So I have my feet reaching to the ceiling, big toes touch. Hands reach to the ceiling, hook the thumbs just to remember to keep those hands together. Take an inhale, move the feet forward, hands back any amount, but keep the limbs together, feet together, hands together. Exhale, bring them back towards one another. Inhale, move them away any amount where you feel in control. Exhale, bring it back. And just continue that on your own. You might even notice I'm actually very aware today that one side feels like it's a little stronger than the other. And I can actually feel that when I move into this pose. So keep moving through this. If you have other core work that suits you better, go for it. But we just want to feel that we're starting to strengthen the lower back and spine from the front side. Five more. Last one. Whew. Okay, knees together. So you can do this on your back or at the wall. I'm going to do this sitting upright, but I'll start you here if you want to stay. So crossing right knee over left. You can do this with legs at the wall if you want to move back. Or you can hold the calves or heels and moving into a nice reclined Gomukhasana. Or rock yourself up or find your way into the seated version if you want to move into this pose. So finishing out with our yin postures. So right leg on top of left, anchor the hips if you're sitting on a blanket like I am or on your hips. I'm going to grab my blocks for my shoulders, but I'm going to get us set up with our timer. Okay, so we're here a little longer. Here 3 minutes. Sometimes I don't tell you the time because you hear the time and you start to check out. So don't worry about the time. Think of this as still practice. It's just more of a mental practice. We do want to release any tension we have going in the hips, of our experiences. And you can anchor and just sit how you are. The thing with being on the back is sometimes the arms get tired. So you might decide that moving against the wall for that is fine. What I like, I don't know about you, but having the arms behind me this whole time, they're quite tired. So you can sit as you are. Or I like to take the props in front of me, maybe eagle the arms, and then I can rest that way. So just options as usual. Or you can even just rest the elbows. You can rest the hands at the temples. Yogi's choice. Let's see if you can notice the breath again. So you might notice the side ribs, the back ribs, what about the chest? How are you breathing now? Do you feel a bit more free? We're halfway through this pose, so just 90 seconds left. In the beginning, you may have remembered that we started in a 2-block heart opener, sort of feeling open versus contracted like we might feel during the day. So we're slightly more contracted in this pose, but we can still feel light and open. So those areas that might feel a little stuck, a little tense in the hips, can you give them the feeling of not being restricted and closed off, but open and releasing? That sense of sort of unfurling, right? Letting go. Five breaths left. Slowly back out. Make your way to side 2, so whatever version of this you're taking. My body is is done. It's like, I don't want to move. All right, so we're here 3 minutes. And yin is all about target area, less about specific pose. So lots of options here. This could be a different hip opener. Maybe you really feel like you want to do pigeon or something, or thread the needle. Whatever you're interested in. You wound the arms up to the second side. But otherwise, just let yourself relax. Even though we feel sort of wound up like a pretzel, we'll really learn to unwind. Notice those areas that sort of contract automatically. They're not in our conscious control. they are in our conscious control, but they happen without us thinking about it. Like the jaw tends to start to retighten. What about around the eyes, the hands? Those hips are gripping. Can you let them relax? You've already made it halfway through this pose, so just 90 seconds left. Many of you will feel this on the top hip. It's fine to feel it on the bottom, just not in the knees. And last couple breaths. All right, so go ahead and come out of that. If you're on a blanket, that's nice. We're going to move into butterfly. So soles of the feet together. If you're at the wall and you don't feel like moving, you can take butterfly or malasana at the wall. So start with the feet together. We're going to change this a little bit. So stretch inner thighs first. If you want to do straight legs, that's fine. So you can sit up tall or you can fold forward. It's just personal preference. And we're going to start with the feet closer to the body. So I'm moving more into my inner thighs. And in about a minute, I'll give an option to go feet wider, which gets more into stretching the back body. So you can stay with one or the other or do them both as I am. All right, so stay as you are or move those feet away from you so it's a much wider butterfly. You can rest your arms on top or under the legs. We're here for these last 90 seconds. Last couple breaths. All right. So we'll take our finishing pose. I'm going to do seated forward fold, Hashimotonasana. If you have low back disc herniations, it just doesn't feel like where you want to be to take a seated forward fold. You can do legs at the wall, you can do plow, you can do happy baby, but we will do this for the full duration of a pose, and then we'll move into Shavasana. So I'll set my timer one last time for our postures. So take your forward fold, it can even be split leg, whatever variation of this you choose. Just sort of unwind, stretch out the back body. Did all this really nice work for you. Getting into your twists, getting into your back bends. See if you can let it go. If you have props, you might even explore setting blocks. They don't have to be low. They can be up high even, but try to set them under your forehead if that's for you. Just releasing a little bit more into the pose. Arms forward is nice, stretching out the shoulders from all the work we did. About halfway through this pose. All right. So that's 6 breaths left. If you need to come out early, make changes. We're heading towards Shavasana when you're done. Okay, slowly come out. Start to make changes. What do you need to get comfortable in Shavasana? It might be a remaining twist. Maybe you want a happy baby. Even legs up the wall to finish out. So do whatever you need. We're going to end in Shavasana. I will use my timer one last time for Shavasana. It just allows us to fully relax. So take a few moments, get comfortable. The low back is tender, bend the knees or slide something underneath. And we've arrived, we did it. Shavasana. 3 minutes. Well, returning to this place, similar to where we began, the palms open, a gesture of being open to receive. Receive the breath. Receive any intuitions you may have. So just receive this moment in time where you can pause, you can regroup, you can reset. Shavasana. Start to move fingers and toes. And inhale reaches the arms overhead. Maybe yawn. Bend your knees, make your way to your side. Take a moment to pause. And the strength of your arms press you upright. Find your final seat. Hands to your heart in gratitude for all the time and effort you put into you today. Lift your heart. Bow your head. Namaste.